Are you stuck in the V-sit and you can't seem to make any progress towards this skill? Here are a couple of tips and tricks that are going to help you progress towards the Manna. Now do keep in mind this is a very advanced skill, so only attempt this if you already have a comfortable experience dealing with the V-sit itself. Now let's take a look at that V-sit. If you've spent any time on social media browsing for the perfect example of a V-sit for inspiration, this will most likely be the example you come across most. This type of V-sit is practiced by calisthenic street workout or yoga practitioners. Notice the hand placement, the tension on the triceps, and maybe even the pronated shoulder blades. The combination of these three factors is what's holding you back from going beyond the V-sit. We're going to rebuild the V-sit from the ground up to turn it into a gymnastics V-sit, which allows you to progress to the Manna a little faster. Now let's start with the hands. As you can see from the calisthenic example, they're facing forward. And there's nothing inherently wrong with placing your hands forward, since that's what you're used to from doing handstands, push-up, planches, any push skill, to be honest. Now, in theory, you could hold a Manna with your hands facing forward, but this task becomes very, very difficult since you don't have any leverage behind your wrists. Start by turning your hands 180 degrees and putting them in the supinated position. Also spread out your fingers to maximize the surface area of your hands. A little word of caution, if you have very sensitive or painful wrists, maybe don't turn them out completely 180 degrees. Look for the kind of sweet spot that helps you achieve more balance and that's gentle on your wrists. Now let's talk about the scapula. Again, a protracted scapula makes total sense when dealing with a Maltese or a planche, for example, since you're countering the forces of gravity pulling you down. And it's the same story with Manna, only your body is the other way around. So the only way to counter gravitational forces is by retracting the scapula. By doing this, you're gonna lift your hips higher off the floor, and you're going to take a lot of pressure off of your triceps, both of which are very beneficial when you want to work towards that Manna. Now, word of caution, retracting the scapula will cause quite a bit of lean into the entire chain, and the pressure that's coming off of your triceps is going to go into your elbows and wrists. So again, if you have sensitive elbows and wrists, be very careful when applying this method, but it does help achieving that balance. This pressure will diminish once you reach the Manna. Since your legs are going to be overhead, your shoulders can come forward a little bit more towards that vertical position. Now we've tackled the wrists, triceps, and scapula, we've essentially transformed the calisthenics V-sit into a gymnastics one. This is an environment that will allow you to get those feet overhead a lot easier. Now, the first thing people try when going from a V-sit to a Manna is simply to lift their hips, which is correct, but it's not the right plan of action. If you think with your hips, you're thinking with a rather heavy body part. Instead, try thinking with your feet, and naturally your hips will follow. Once your feet get past the line of where your hands are supporting, roughly when your legs at a 45-degree angle, that's when you can start thinking with your hips to gently inch your way towards that tabletop position. Now, a little word of caution, a crash mat is a very, very valuable investment when learning the Manna. Or in a pinch, you can always use a couch cushion.